Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Hello and welcome to the show. The podcast has been on hiatus while I have been writing and recording and touring. So if you've come out to any of the shows or if you've been at any of the meet and greets, thank you so much. I mean, we just had such an amazing time with Kill Switch over in the UK, and all the shows before that were great. And then, of course, all the Life of Agony Jasta shows were great. And I met so many great people and just really had the time of our lives. And it really inspired me to get back into the studio and start finishing up this Hatebreed record. So it's been hard not doing the podcast. I miss talking to all the artists and reading all your comments and reading all your emails and being in touch through social media and whatnot. But I appreciate just the fact that people still have interest in the podcast, and I hope you really enjoyed today's episode with my good friend, Mr. Kirk Windstein, who is enjoying the Crowbar TikTok moment, which is insane right now. Crowbar blowing up on TikTok was not something that I had on my bingo card, but more power to him, and his solo record is absolutely kicking ass, so make sure you go get Ethereal Waves, Kirk Windstein solo album number 2, which is out now on my label, Perseverance Media. You can get it over at martyrstore.net, and you can use the code K10. That's nice and easy to remember. Just the letter K and 10, and you will save 10% off. It's on beautiful Rough Seas vinyl, Coke bottle clear, and metallic gold over at martyrstore.net. And while you're there, go get the new Many Eyes Combust LP and CD. And we do have signed copies. So go support Many Eyes on tour. Check out their tour dates at manyeyesmusic.com. And what else do we got going on? Gotta mention that today's episode and every Jasta Show episode for the rest of the year and next year is brought to you by our good friends at Sumerian Records. Head on over to sumerianrecords.com after the podcast today and support a great label who is going to be one of our sponsors. It was one of our sponsors for Milwaukee Metal Fest and the Jasta Show this year, but is also back on board sponsoring Milwaukee Metal Fest and the Jasta Show for 2026, and we couldn't be happier to have them. We are also going to be announcing Summer Slaughter 2026, which is very exciting. So big thanks to Sumerian Records. Head on over to sumerianrecords.com after the show and check out new releases from Face Yourself, Slaughter to Prevail, and many other bands over at sumerianrecords.com. Before we get to the chat with Kirk Windstein, if you want behind-the-scenes stuff and if you want extra content, head on over to patreon.com/Jasta and subscribe. You're going to be getting a bunch of new episodes. I just dropped a 2-hour-plus episode talking about the best of the year so far as music releases goes, and we'll be dropping an episode talking about the Grammy nominations and talking about some behind-the-scenes stuff with the Hatebreed record. Patreon.com/Jasta, and if you want to access the Jasta Show archives, go to gasdigital.com. Of course, anyone who's going down to New Orleans, have fun at Skankfest. Shout out to Lewis, shout out to Big J, Dave, and everybody involved at Skankfest New Orleans. And while you're in New Orleans for Skankfest, head on over and see Acid Bath and Soylent Green and everybody else. Mastodon, it's going to be a great show. All right, big shout out to New Orleans. Love everybody, love Kirk. Enjoy the episode. Now on to the show.
My friend, the lead singer of Hatebreed, the infamous and notorious Jamey Jasta, is in the building. That's what's up.
Jamey Jasta from the metal band Hatebreed. That guy's famous.
Coffee, death metal, and push-ups.
That's Jamey Jasta. Remember Jamey Jasta? You know him. He's a podcaster, but he's a metal man.
I would say delete that.
That shit is hard. Your host, Jamey Jasta, Hatebreed.
Yes, special bonus show. The Riff Beast himself, the Swamp Master, the Beard of Doom, the Soldier of Saxon, Mr. Kirk Windstein himself, Ethereal Waves, out today. Congratulations.
Thank you, bro. Big time. For all your help. So
it's
excited about it.
It's a great record. You did an amazing job. You, Dwayne, Vinny, who else needs like their flowers for this record, because I mean it's such a great follow-up to Dream in Motion, and fans are already like loving it.
Us three pretty much, like what would happen is I would like complete a song and then I'd get off tour or something. I was really, the whole thing, dude, I go maybe, two Wednesdays out of the month or something. So it's a very long process. A day here and there, it took about 2 years, just like Dream in Motion. But I come home from tour and like Dwayne and Vinny had kind of changed up, a riff or something like that. And they're like, waiting for me to hear it. And I'm like, dude, it's killer. And they're like, are you cool with it? I said, absolutely. I just want the best record, possible. I mean, I'm not going to be ego about it and go, no, it has to be this way. And then if it didn't sound better, I would say so, but they have great ideas. So, I mean, that's one of my biggest mottos. Like when I walked in the room with Kenny and Johnny and Big Todd, I'm like, I always think this way. When you enter the studio, it's just like people tell you when you enter the gym, leave your ego at the door. When you enter the studio, leave your ego at the door and surround yourself with talented people, and great things happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is you're on quite a run. I mean, you're coming off a sold out tour with I Hate God. You got the solo record out now, and then you're gonna have the Sun Don't Shine record out, and then new Crowbar next year, and new Down.
Yes.
So it's like you're this renaissance man. You're on this prolific tear right now.
I'm trying to literally get the 4 of them out. Ethereal came out, I mean, today, which is October 1st. So in our reality,
this will air on the 3rd.
Oh, sorry, October 3rd. But I got you. But I'm really trying to, it'll be 4 releases in maybe 14, 15 months or something. I'm hoping for. Like if we can get a late, even if it's an early 2027 Crowbar release, depending on, because the situation is the COC's coming out first, as far as with things that I'm with, even though I'm not in the band, of course, with
but associated, yeah,
and just like Down, COC's on the Nuclear Blast, so same label, so I know they know what to do and stagger the releases and whatnot. But we're hoping for like a late summer release or something with the Down. I'm thinking the Sun Don't Shine will be early next year, I'm thinking. And then the Crowbar, we're really sounding great. We jammed yesterday. We're picking up some more tunes, and it's really clicking. After the 28 shows in 25 days thing, Pat's really clicking back in Crowbar, and it sounds huge. It really sounds great. So
for sure, yeah. The reviews were great. Everybody was so psyched that you kept the tour in. I mean, people were really talking about how, you're just resilient in that way where you're like, all right, I'm going to do this even with the sciatica, but now you're having some relief. Was there anything that was the turning point that helped you get past the pain?
It kind of does its own thing. I'll say one, I've never had, and I appreciate it, but I've never had enough people offer me pain pills and give me weed, which I don't smoke. I don't even eat edibles or anything. So I'd be like, thanks, man. I have a whole bunch of shit. Just give it to Tommy and Matt, and Dad smokes too. I'm like, whatever, man. Y'all have fun. I appreciate it. All I did was, try to drink a lot. I mean, of course, some people are like, well, you really ought to not drink beer while you're doing it. I'm like, I get it. I shouldn't. But, that was my pain pill, so, but I really just did electrolytes and a lot of water every morning and all day. And, I took 4 ibuprofen at one time, maybe in mid-afternoon. And that was, as far as pain medication, that was it.
Dude, I was calling my mother the other day. I'm like, Mom, did you take Tylenol in 76, 77?
Right. Something wrong. I've been seeing all that shit. And I'm like, what is going, I mean, who knows, man?
But what is your status now? I mean, I see you're in the gym. Like, what is your, you're obviously getting better, you're healing, but are you going to need a Paul Stanley style like hip replacement from laying in the bunk? I mean, it's the wear and tear is what's going to get you. Like, how are you going to go to Panama, get stem cells injected in there? What going to go to?
I would, man. You know,
dude, let's do it. Let's book it.
I mean, I would. I do it. You know, I mean, really, I still, and I haven't really been putting it off. Robin found a guy that a bunch of friends suggested for an MRI and to check everything out, because the hope is that through diet, exercise, and mainly the biggest thing you see is stretching. Like I do, you know, my thing now is I'm extremely limited in the gym in lifting. You know, it's like I can't press anything overhead. I can only lift sitting down, only exercises sitting down. So like dumbbells, seated dumbbell curls and things like that for biceps, it's very limited. I don't stand up for any of the exercises. I can do like lat pull downs and rows and things, but I completely changed things from the high intensity training, which is less sets, low reps, but to complete failure, to like, you know, 3 sets of maybe the first set will be 20 down to the last set maybe being, you know, 8. I'll still go pretty close to failure, but I had to just change the whole thing around. I'm really just trying to stay mobile and just not, you know, like I had a lot of muscle atrophy in my legs from not walking correctly, you know, for fucking 6 weeks or something. I mean, the difference from like today, for instance, you know, I mean, or yesterday I did, you know, like 4.5 miles, 30 minutes on I have to do the seated life cycle, not the one you ride like a bicycle. You sit down with back support and the pedals are in front of you. So I'll do like 30 minutes of that. And then I did like 15 minutes of stretching, and, you know, walked out of the place. I felt amazing. Today I did some lifting and then 18 minutes actually on the life cycle, and then stretching for another 15, 20 minutes. So it's only about, on the days that I do lift, and it's very limited, like I said, the lifting portion takes about 30 minutes, and then the cycle and stretching thing takes another 30. So it's an hour, and then I'll extend the life cycle and do more stretching on days that I don't lift at all. Like when I walk right in and get on the life cycle. And I with that, even I do there's a lot of settings. I do the manual setting on level 1. I do the lowest thing possible because I can't put any stress on my back, you know. But in general, I wake up in the morning and my legs, that's the weird thing, is it's a dull pain in your back, but the real pain is shoots down the back of your legs. So like I've tried just simple things like it's more on my right leg, you know, but balancing on one foot and trying to count to 10. I was at the grocery store earlier getting deli meat, and I'm like, you know, getting some whatever turkey meat, and I let the basket go, and I'm trying to stand on it. Well, I made it to 20 on my right leg. I'm like, every day is just improvement. So you just gotta, you know, I mean, I haven't been drinking at all, really clean diet, and I gotta, you know, just pretty much stick to it. We don't play on the boat for a month, 30 days from today.
Great. So you got time to heal. You got time to do all these podcasts and interviews and sign a million bottles of hot sauce and solo album covers and 8x10.
Tell me with all that, man. I'll do it, whatever it takes. You know?
No, it's great. And we're going to slowly but surely, you know, because this is a totally DIY project now, and Kirk is helping me with the label, and we have, you know, Keith on the label. We have Corpse Grind on the label. I mean, we're really doing something amazing here with this, where a lot of you who are listening or are watching or who are here with us from Patreon, you know, you guys made this record possible and got your name immortalized in there. And it's a really amazing. And now we're getting European distribution and Australian distribution. And we're starting from the ground up. You know, we're trying to do something different and fresh and new, where all the proceeds go, you know, as directly to the artists as we can. So if you like what you hear, you know, we're playing a preview before and after today's show. If you like what you hear from Ethereal Waves, go get it at martyrstore.net, and it'll be available through Death Wish Europe. It'll be available through Devil Dog in the UK. We'll have a link soon for Australia and New Zealand too. But we thank everybody for their patience, and hopefully we'll be able to do similar stuff with The Sun Don't Shine. You know, we still got to talk to Andrew and those guys. But I think, you know, the songs that are out there are great. People are really digging it. And of course, everybody wants Johnny and Kenny and Sexy T and you to sign their copies. And, you know, that's the one thing that I think the industry really sort of forgot about and is now kind of waking up to, is that the collectors want these records signed. They want different stuff with the pre-orders. They want guitar picks. They want signed posters. They want lithographs, you know, and that's how I am, you know, like and you got stuff on your wall too. Like if I see Halford, I want to get my vinyl signed, you know, and I want
Ace Frehley, you know, behind me there. So
yeah.
And I got a framed Ace Frehley poster at the end of the hallway. So
I was gonna ask you, is the Ace record your favorite of the Kiss solo albums?
It is. Excuse me, I'm out of diet soda, which I probably should. I've had enough today, but it is. But to me, I mean, I've always been an Ace guy. You know, there's Gene guys, there's Paul guys, there's Ace guys. I mean, everyone loves Peter, you know, but it is what it is. But I mean, when the record came out, I was blown away. I gotta say, Paul's is like a great Paul Stanley Kiss album. Like, all the songs are great. They sound, but his songs sound like Kiss. Up until that point, Ace hadn't really written much. And the one, you know, I think Gene's I love Gene's writing. Even though Paul's got bigger hits and this and that, and Paul jokes. Well, Gene writes a lot more songs than I do, but they're not all always good. And I agree. But I mean, to write a song like Going Blind or something, like he wrote darker, heavier shit.
Yeah.
More pop, you know. And Paul's, look, he's got a great ear for, I mean, as simple as fucking Love Gun is and shit, you know, it's still an anthem. But
yeah, dude, Naked City, bro. Get Gene to play Naked City.
Oh, you know what? That's a perfect example. I played it on jukebox at Pat's like a year ago. My friend Sean, who was a big Kiss freak, he goes, I know that's Gene singing. He goes, what fucking song is this? I'm like, Naked City off of Unmasked. It's like a Beatles song or something, dude. It's great. That middle section, lonely people. Look at, you know, I'm like, that's the kind of shit that Gene does. He kind of puts his nuts on the chopping block here and there. That's different. Where you got Paul, you know, tomorrow, you know, which is great too. But
yeah,
I like the Gene shit better, you know.
So when you do the vault, when you do the Riff Beast vault, like Gene, like what, Gene, it was like $2,000, and he would like, and he would bring it to you, right? Or what was the
something
deal?
Like, yeah, like he would do like almost a meet and greet type thing, and you would pre-order or something. He'd come to a city, you know, and it was up to you, I guess. You know, he didn't like show up at the door, but I mean, yeah, it was something like he would personally hand it to you, do the photos, chat with you, and all that shit. So there's enough hardcore Kiss fans out there. He probably made a killing off of charging $2,000 for songs. I mean, there was some stuff I believe that was unreleased, but you know, hey, I mean, more power to him. I say that with anybody and everybody. We both know very well how hard this business is, and you know, I mean, look, it's an honest buck. He's not trying to. He's telling you what you're getting. He's telling you how much it costs. He's not putting a gun to your head.
Right.
It's like it's up to you to say, I'll dump the $2,000 on the Gene thing. Just go meet him at the thing and sit down. Like the smartest thing, and I'll bet it's a ton of money. And God, when the fan that shows up is like a, you know, strap thing, or it's gotta suck. But Al Di Meola does, you know, the amazing guitars, does these things at his house, and I have no idea what they cost. Where you come over and he cooks and y'all grill out and have wine and stuff, and like it's like an evening at Al's house, like you and Al.
Wow.
You know, guitar with him and shit like that. And I'm like, it's a great idea.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. That's right. Don't miss any of the excitement this sports season on Prize Picks. Whether you're a football fan, basketball fan, or both, it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks now offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Steph Curry's points, 3-pointers, assists? You name it, they got it. Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup. Let me know who you're picking. Leave it in the comments. Head on over to prizepicks.com. Use the code JASTA, Jasta. It's easy to remember. The link is in the show notes. Big thanks to Prize Picks. Download Prize Picks app today. Use code JASTA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code JASTA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Now back to the show. Yeah, I love the summer camp things. I see Scott Ian does them, and I see a lot of musicians do them, and I love that. And that's cool because then
I'm not familiar with that.
It's like a rock and roll summer camp where you can go and jam, and they'll teach you songs, and then I think they actually do a show where people jump up. And I did it a little bit on this Life of Agony tour where fans will come and we do Jam with Jasta where they'll come and sound check, and we'll do a song together. And I want to do more of that. I've been signing a lot of Kingdom of Sorrow records on this tour.
I sign a lot as well.
And people have been asking me too. So that's another thing I said, look, I've been telling the fans backstage, because we do the meet and greets backstage too, which is a lot of fun. It's funny too when you play some of these clubs and the people come back and they're like, man, I've been coming to this club for 20 years. I never knew this was even back here. I never knew that. It's like you get a peek behind the curtain, and it's
which is cool, but usually they're let down. It's like
it's not as glamorous.
Like somebody will take pictures. Sometimes Robin will do pictures or video or something like. Wow, backstage is exciting. Somebody's like taking a nap. Everybody's on their phone. Somebody's making a sandwich. It's like, all you do is, we got another 2 hours till stage, and sit around looking at each other, staring at the walls,
I do think though that the pendulum's gonna swing. And I feel like the 80s is going to come back around, especially with World War III looming. I feel like the debaucherous, I feel like some bands are going to be like, fuck it. We don't care if we get canceled. We don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I think like the 80s glam thing, it's like, it's going to be similar. It's either going to be the other way where it's crust punk, because remember when the crust punk thing was popping off I thought, which one of these bands is going to go huge? But it's also kind of like it can't go huge unless somebody breaks through the ceiling, right? But part of me feels like, especially going to some of these festivals, people want to throw down, and then we're bored. We already did that. We've been there. We've done that 25 years ago. We're boring. so it's up to the new kids. Like if they want to relive or recreate whatever like Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee, those dudes were doing, Vince Neil, like somebody's gonna do it, But back to the Kingdom of Sorrow and the Crowbar stuff. And shout out to Givens. Givens had said, when are we gonna do a Crowbar box set? And I was like, yeah, dude, you got to do the box set. And then I thought, we should do like a double Kingdom box with, the bonus tracks or the B-sides or the stuff that people haven't heard, even if we got to go and touch them up. But for the third album, I said, look, it's a lot of Crowbar and Pantera and down adjacent groups doing a lot of stuff in a small period of time. Like you were saying, you got COC, and they're on tour. What an amazing opportunity, with congrats to them with Priest and Cooper, right?
Yeah. And then Pepper was like he's been hitting it, we hit up each other like 15-year-old little girls or something. Like I was watching TV with Robin last night up late, and we're just chatting about stuff, Pepper keeps blowing the phone up, and in our group chat, along with Eddie, the sound guy, and Pat, Brutus, everybody's chiming in, Bauer, whatnot. But Pepper's like, he goes like before the tour started, because he played one show, and then they missed one show in order for him to do Louder Than Life with Down. but they only missed one show, and the agent was like, you know what, that's fine. It's right at the beginning of the tour, and the tour goes all the way to October 26th. So they played, I think, September 16th was the first show. And then, and we rehearsed on the morning of the 17th, jumped in the bus and drove up and played on the 18th. But Pepper was like, yeah, man, I kind of been, because he's all getting more luthier, you know, like guitar stuff and doing his own, changing out his pickups and doing this and that. And he's a great, like, handyman and mechanic kind of guy. Is one of them kind of dudes. Well, now he's always been pretty good with the guitars, but he's obsessed with the shit now. Like, he's constantly, you know, redoing everything. So he's been hanging out, I think, with the text for Priest, and he's kind of, you know, learning a little bit from Richie the Falcon Faulkner and Andy Sneed, who's like, you know, a lot of people don't realize Andy's like a fucking amazing producer.
Yeah.
Pepper's like, he's like, dude, he hits me up. He goes, their guitar rigs are not any more complicated than ours are for down, you know. He goes, it's simple. And I said, well, dude, when you got Andy Sneed, like helping dial in your tone.
Sneep with a P.
Sneep. Okay, yeah.
And dude, did you see his wig? I'm like, dude, are we gonna have to go? You and me, we'll go to Turkey. We'll get him filled in. Like, well, dude, we'll.
He's got a full lid.
I think he went and got the full lid. Like, I think he did the Turkish Delight or whatever. You know, where you fly over and you get the bloody bandage on the way home.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Andy. I don't know. It was all of a sudden it was.
I have not seen the lid. I mean, I saw him at
I'll look it up.
2022. I saw him 3 times. We played with him 3 times. We played Copenhagen, Grass Pop, and Hellfest. And Phil even came out for the Hellfest show, and we're like, dude, it's unbelievable, and Rob's just fucking killing it.
Oh, dude.
Pepper's like, dude, it's unreal. Like, I think they opened with Painkiller, straight into Rapid Fire, and then they do like Grinder and shit. It's like, you know, every song's like a legendary heavy metal classic, because they're my favorite, by far. They're my favorite like heavy metal band. As much as I love except Saxon and Maiden, but like, to me, Maiden, you know, I loved it when in the early 80s. Like, Deanna was my favorite singer when they found, like, he was my favorite singer. They were my favorite band before Bruce joined. So I had a little transitional period there to get into Bruce, and I fell in love with it. But honestly, like, Power Slave was the last album I bought, I think, and that was in 85. That's 40 fucking years ago.
Wow.
But I still buy Pre-Shit because it's killer. And I mean,
dude, Firepower. I even did a Nostradamus re-listen, and I was like, wow, it's not how I remembered it.
Sounds like it could come out right after
Painkiller,
Defenders or something.
Or that too.
It should have been like Scream of Vengeance, Defenders, Firepower. Just skip Ram It Down. You know, it's got, to me, 2 great songs, Ram It Down and Under Blood Red Skies. But it took me a while. Like, I'm kind of into Turbo now, but at the time it was like, what are they doing? It's like synth, you know, of course,
right.
You know, you're not really happy with that, but yeah, Firepower fits in, like, to me, right before. Like, it should have came out right before, and then it should have been Painkiller.
Dude, Panic Attack, or what's the other one? Invincible Shield is good too.
Yeah.
Invincible Shield is good too. There's bangers on that.
Yeah.
No, I'm so happy for Pepper and those dudes, and that's the thing. It's like, I always talk about the peaks and the valleys, but it just goes to show, like, you get one of these big opportunities where now you're in big theaters, small arenas, or whatever, and then look at their off day shows. COC's getting bumped up into the bigger rooms on some of these off day shows, just like with You and I Hate God getting bumped up, or getting just, you know, or just selling it out clean and adding another matinee, which is amazing. So the order of it, right? It's like Ethereal Waves is out now. What day does the COC come out? Is it already out?
I don't think he's got a date. It will be early next year.
Okay. And then what about the Down? Is that going to come out in the summer?
I'm guessing like mid to late summer. I mean, we should be done done. In fact, I think, don't quote me, but in the chat last night with Eddie, who was involved, Eddie Knapp, our sound guy, him and Dwayne, working on stuff. Dwayne's still going through. He had a health procedure today, and then he's done with all of his.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear.
Crap. Absolutely, dude. But yeah, so we kind of got it set up for Pepper and I to finish all the guitars in November. Like, he doesn't get home till October 27th or something, and we leave. We do the boat, but we're home. We'll be home on the 5th, I think, or the 6th, something like that. No, we'll be home on the 5th of November. So I'm pretty much ready. Give me 2 or 3 days, and we'll start knocking out guitar. Dwayne should be ready by then. But Eddie's in the process of working, because Phil's doing the vocals at the home studio, and that's where drums and bass were done. We did guitar, all the rhythm guitars at Dwayne's. And with Eddie's going out with Zach Sabbath on that tour, which is long.
Yeah.
So he's going to be going all the way up to practically Christmas. So me and Pepper are like, we might as well just, do it at Dwayne's and knock out the solos and Sweetie tracks and stuff over there. But I think Phil's got the proper files on 2 of the songs. So to my knowledge, like by the weekend or going into next week, he may have done 2 already. We were talking a lot of life, and he's like, dude, I guess I ought to just, because he's already got it all written and planned out. It's all arranged. Drums and bass are done, rhythm guitars are done. And he goes, I guess I ought to just knock it out while my pipes are good, because that Pantera Amon Amarth thing was long. They did have a break and all, but it was long. And I said, yeah, dude, just go for it while you're feeling good. I mean, he can do it on his own schedule and his own pace. All he's got to do is say, yeah, I want to sing today, or yeah, I ain't feeling it. Okay, we can come in tomorrow, whatever, But it's 10 tracks, so he should, he's got great ideas on all of them. It's really going to be a killer record. Like, I think I told you a while back, I'm like, it's either going to like totally be this huge thing or just flop. But I don't see it. If you're a Down fan, I don't see how you cannot like it. It's great.
Well, it's cool to see you guys all jamming again, and back to COC, like No Cross, No Crown. I want to say that was 2018. So
it was,
and that was, and rest in peace, Reed. That was the last record, right? And that was the first record since, I think, America's Volume Dealer to have those 4 on the record. And I was feeling old the other day. I broke it out. I broke out the physical copy of America's Volume Dealer, and it came out in 2000, I think. I should look that up.
It's something like that, dude, because I remember, because Stanton Moore played on the new one, which I've heard it multiple times, and it's going to blow people away, man. It's a double album, a true double album, not just, okay, let's make a double LP because it sounds so much better when with pressing and everything.
Right.
But it's a true long enough to be a real double album. I mean, fuck, it might be 3 discs or something on the vinyl. I don't know. But
yeah.
It's monstrous, man. It's got some of the most aggressive stuff that they've ever done, for sure. So it's COC, man. I mean, they got Bobby Landgraf on bass, Mike Dean kind of retired, and just doing studio stuff and whatnot, which I get. And I mean, Bobby's a beast, and it's really working out great. And he's also got a great voice, Bobby does. So Pepper's like, man, we were like, we're doing harmonies and shit on choruses, and it's, and he's a great player. And I was like, dude, how did you learn how to play bass so well with your fingers? And he's like, I think during COVID, he said, I'm just going to fucking teach myself how to play bass. So he just grabbed one and didn't pick up a pick, and he just started fucking around with his fingers, because he's like ripping it like fucking Entwistle and Geezer and stuff. Nice. It's fire, dude. It's badass.
So the last Down music was 2014, and Bobby, who's now in COC, he was on that.
Yep.
And then when you rejoined in 2019, you rejoined for shows, but there was no music between 2014 and now.
No. So like when we got, I hadn't jammed with them because we completed the first EP, I think in 2012, and we got together at the beginning of last year, 2024, I think, in January, and we wrote like 7 songs in the first 3 days or whatnot. But I was thinking, and I told them, because the magic was just there, the play, and everybody's so comfortable with one another. And I was like, I haven't really jammed with you dudes in like 12 years, like writing. And they're like, gee, and I'm like, yeah, think about it. I mean, we kind of finished up the first EP. I think it came out in 2013, but we kind of finished it up in 2012 or maybe early 2013. So it's been a long time, but it's been well worth the wait for me. And it's just so great to be back, jamming. I mean, there's a certain chemistry with that band that you just don't get often. And it's the truth.
Yeah, no, when you guys played Milwaukee Metal Fest, I mean, you guys were on fire, and Brutus was throwing down like a wild wizard, and like it was amazing. I was feeling it. Everybody was feeling it. It was
great.
Yeah, it was great to see everybody like just moving and grooving and having that chemistry for sure. And I was, when you played something off of Down 2,
Ghost of Mississippi.
Yes, and I was like, I was meaning to ask Philip and you, what a bustle in your hedgerow. That's a line, right, from a Led Zeppelin, from
Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, but why that? Like, why Down to a bustle in your hedgerow? Like, what does that mean? Like, what is it?
I mean, to me, like, I don't know. We got to ask a proper Brit, but I guess, I mean, think about, like, what would it mean, a bustle in your hedgerow? It's like, your hedgerows, like the little hedges, whatever in your fucking yard or something. So yeah, like disturbance or some shit. And Phil just kind of said, you want to just call it Down to? And then one day we were like, yeah. And he goes, dude, is this stupid? Or would it be like, what if we called it Down to a bustle in your hedgerow? Because at the time we were really freaking on Zeppelin. Like, I got the Swan Song tattoo. I think Rex got some. We were jamming on nothing but Zeppelin. Like when we were not recording, because we lived out at the Lair, for a month, and it was all written and recorded in a month. And,
wow.
Yeah. But it was.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's so a natural disturbance, a bustle suggests activity, potential of the movement of animals or the blossoming of a hawthorn tree, and the hedgerow refers to a natural, often overgrown border in the landscape. Then there's other things, opportunity for change, folk and pagan influences. Robert Plant was known to be interested in Celtic mythology, British folklore, and spiritual themes, which are reflected in the line's allusion to the ancient traditions surrounding May festivals and the symbolic power of hedgerows. So you don't have a hedgerow outside the place?
No, a lot of pine trees.
So no fear of any bustles happening.
No. Maybe a bustle in the pine trees doesn't have the same ring to it.
So
I mean, it was probably just more an ode to, like, the song NOD off of Down 3 was actually called Nod. And I actually suggested, I said, put periods between it like NIB, and then people will think it means something. And it was just a working title, and, Phil and Pep were like, it's a great idea. But the original lyrics were basically thanking Black Sabbath and Trouble and St. Vitus and all these bands that influenced us, It was like a nod to those guys for being such an influence on us. So I think to me, without Phil explaining it, I would think it's more just a nod to Zeppelin.
Was that ever recorded? Like, did you have a version with those lyrics on it?
I'm pretty positive there's a version with that. It's almost like, are you familiar with Heaven?
Yeah.
The Australian band, the first album, Bent.
Yep.
They had that song that was like, talking about, it's like there was Hendrix and then there was this one and that one, and it's like talking about rock and roll. I can't even think of the name of the song. But It was that they like, you know, kind of MTV hit or whatever. But they were outright calling, you know, bands out, you know. There was Hendrix back in 19, you know, all this kind of shit, like just mentioning bands.
So it's kind of like how he did on Reinventing the Steel. It was like 68,
right,
70s, right?
Yeah, going through the whole thing, and then, you know, and then it's like Slayer and Sabbath, you know, shout outs and worship and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the original, I think because we demoed the whole thing, and it sucked because we kind of like, you know, the demos came out so good, we were like, all right, we're never doing a proper demo again. And I remember reading something with Tom Petty years ago, and he said the same thing. He goes, whenever we fucking demo and everything's great, and then we go into the studio to try and recreate it, and it's not the same. He goes, I'll never do a proper demo again. So all we did for our demo of the new songs was Eddie put like 2 lot mics or something, you know, in the room, where that's all it was. We couldn't use it because it wasn't isolated tracks. But on Down 3, we demoed pretty much the whole record already, and it was done like an album would be done. And we ended up loving, you know, a lot of the demo versions, you know, better because it's more spontaneous and whatnot. And, you know, same thing with Crowbar. Like, we don't ever demo. I mean, you know, my idea of a demo was like, I still got a handheld cassette recorder and shit.
Right.
You know, bring it to practice. You know, my idea of demo is just, all right, let me go stick the phone in the corner and put like a T-shirt on top of it or something so it's not too distorted, and let me record it, you know, and that's so we have a reference. And that's it. We don't really, you know, try to do anything like the old days with Crowbar and in the beginning with Slugs and Crowbar and all. Bauer would bring like a boombox with a cassette tape and record it. We used to stick it all the way in the corner and put like, you know, we jammed in this whole warehouse, this whole green warehouse, we called it the Green Warehouse, with all these different bands practicing. And like, you know, there was just, people were living in jam rooms and stuff like that. It was kind of shady. But you know, we found a couple old filthy, you don't even want to touch pillows and shit like that. We'd cram it on top of the boom box, and it would muffle out everything enough. And Jimmy go home and make cassette copies for everybody as the original songs that became Obedience Through Suffering were being written. So, you know, I don't differentiate much from that these days. You know, we're not like up in there with Crowbar, you know, we don't even have mics or anything doing it. We just do it on the phone or whatnot, you know.
Was On March the Saints, was that a holdover from Down 2, or did you write that like fresh?
No, I had the main riff, you know, and at first Pepper was kind of weird about it until it went into the verse where it's like, and it breathes a bit like a Zeppelin song, and Jimmy's kind of hitting, you know, doing a bottom kick thing and all. And then Pepper's like, oh, I get it now. He goes, it's fucking badass. And Phil had the middle section. And we just, you know, it worked out that way. But it wasn't, we didn't have anything left from Down to anything left from Nola, really. And it's the same thing with Crowbar. We don't have, there's one song that did not make it on Zero and Below. That was kind of, it's a great song, but it was kind of too heavy metal, rock and roll.
Thrashy or something?
No, it wasn't. It was more like just old school metal or something. It didn't sound, I wrote it, you know, and then at the end I'm like, because like Matt brought it up, and I said, dude, I completely fucking forgot about that. He goes, yeah, dude, we had a whole, like it was all recorded. So Dwayne's probably got it on, you know, saved on something. And that would be the only leftover Crowbar song pretty much ever. Because to me, I might steal a riff or something that doesn't turn, but if we create a whole song and we don't think it's really killer, it just goes in the garbage and we start on a new song.
Right, or you take
the
one riff you like.
One riff, right. It's like, okay, we got one money riff, the rest is crap, so throw the rest away, trim the fat, and let's just take the fucking, you know, filet mignon, and let's fucking build around it, you know.
Quick interruption, letting you know today's episode is brought to you by Blue Grape Music. Big thanks to Blue Grape Music, one of our awesome podcast and Milwaukee Metal Fest sponsors, back on board for 2026, and we cannot wait to have them there. Check out their site at bluegrapemusic.com. You'll see new releases from bands like Silly Goose, Spiritual Cramp, Gasket, Gridiron, who we had on Summer Slaughter 2025, and they absolutely ruled it. Big thanks to bluegrapemusic.com. I was just jamming the Heavy Hitter Coming to Terms track that they sent me. That shit was banging, son. Head on over to bluegrapemusic.com after the podcast today. No coupon code needed. Get yourself some new releases and get yourself some merch, and make sure you stop by their stage at Milwaukee Metal Fest 2026. We're going to have announcements very soon. Big thanks to bluegrapemusic.com. Now back to the show. So then what was the whole, so there wasn't a holdover down. Why did I think like Invest in Fear or whatever the bonus, what was the bonus? Was that a cover? No, was it Invest in Fear? That was an extra song, but was it just for Japanese or like the imports?
I can't even remember, to be honest, because.
Let me see if Michael can pull it up. Michael, look up Down, Invest in Fear. I don't think it was on the regular version of the album.
No, the title doesn't even sound familiar to me.
Let's see if it's, because, you know, I've been, well, I don't want to say, because I got to be careful with saying ideas on the podcast.
So people don't steal.
I always wondered why, because sometimes I'll hear one of those bonus tracks and I like it better than one of the album tracks.
Dude, because we were talking about Priest so much earlier, and it's not just me and Tommy Buckley. Like, other dudes agree. They're like the best fucking song on the record is Reckless, the last track. It sounds like a leftover from Defenders, and I think that's the first song Rob ever sang sober.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a great song. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because it doesn't sound like Turbo Lover, and it doesn't have that I guess more modern
pop rock
thing. Yeah, there's some bangers on it for sure, but stuff like Parental Guidance and stuff I can kind of do without. But Reckless is just like when you get a chance, look it up. It's the last track. I don't think it's Restless. I think it's Reckless on Turbo. And it's fucking the guitar solos and all of them. It sounds like it just belongs smack dab on side 2 of fucking Defenders. Yeah.
All right, let's hear let's see if you remember. Let's see if it rings a bell.
That sounds familiar. I remember this. That's a Phil thing. I remember this, yeah.
Yeah, this was killer. I was like, why is this the bonus track?
It did. I don't know. I remember that totally, because I can tell you right now that's an Anselmo thing. He's got a certain style to his writing, and which I of course love, but it's like you can tell immediately, there's a couple of songs on the new album where he wrote, there might only be 2 or 3 riffs, but he had it all worked out on guitar already. And he'd come stand in the room and me and Pepper would learn it and we'd play it with Phil. We'd have 3 guitars going, and he'd be like, all right, and I remember when we were doing drums on one, which, hang on, I can't give too much away, of course, but looking into last night's conversation.
What kind of guitar does Phil play?
He's got an old, probably late 60s Gibson SG with like 2 P90s. It's like a early melody maker or something like that. Okay, there's a new track on Down that I remember the first riff is Phil. Actually, the whole song might be Phil. I'm not sure. I listened to it last night late, but I'm not going to tell the title or anything. But I remember the day we were going to do drums and bass on it. Phil comes down because we had everything set up outside. You have the big jam room, which once they started the Pantera thing, they expanded the lair. And I was saying to Kate when we were rehearsing, a day or two before the Louder Than Life, I'm like, God, I forget how small the original lair was. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, it's crazy. But they have that area. Then we had an area kind of over in the corner. Speaking, there's Pepper right there. But we had an area set up in the corner with Pepper and Pat's practice amps, and there's couches and shit. It's outside of the studio itself, but still inside the barn. And we congregate there in the morning and kind of go over, the songs and kind of learn the parts from the demos. And Phil's like, dude, y'all are gonna hate me, but the intro to this particular one, I got a better idea thing. And he played it, and I'm like, dude, I like it a lot better. And it was a last minute decision, but his stuff is so, some people are surprised. They're like, he played guitar on Down 3 and shit, like he's a great writer.
He writes stuff that his vocals bob and weave and sit in really nicely. Like he writes from like kind of like a singer standpoint, but also with the guitar hooks in mind. I was going to ask you, I remember you when we first met and when we first toured together, I remember you telling me some stories about the old House of Shock. Whatever happened with that? And do they still do it? Like now that we're in spooky season, did you ever go all the way through it? Did you ever get freaked out? Like, I don't like when they try to touch you and stuff.
I was in it for like, I think 7 years.
And what were you? What was your character?
Different shit, dude. It started the first year. It started in our friend Jay's backyard, and he didn't have all the proper permits and shit. They were charging like $2 or something, and they're like, "Okay, well, we'll just let people in for free." So the next year we did it at another dude's backyard, and they had all the proper permits and shit. And literally, it was on the local news. It's like 2,000 people lined up down some regular little neighborhood in Metairie, Louisiana, like waiting to get in. And I was basically like we had dug little graves and shit, and we'd spray like the glow in the dark kind of spray paint around it, and had like black lights and shit. And we'd rise up out of the fucking ground and all that shit, and all the people. But and then we went over to this big warehouse, and it got really, really, just kind of corporate. And, to me, in all honesty, I just lost, I had so much going on anyway, but I kind of just lost interest. And they ended up selling it for apparently a lot of money. And what's it called now? Nightmare?
It got sold twice.
Okay, I think it got sold twice, we think. But okay. I think it's called
Nightmare
or The Nightmare. It's really good. It's not. The thing with House of Shock, the whole idea of it was to get away from traditional Frankenstein, werewolf, vampire shit and do more satanic and crazy shit. And as it got bigger, you had Steve Joseph, who does, pyro for fucking, Rolling Stones and all this kind of, he had a big pyro show going on and all. And it was a big, really, I enjoyed just hanging outside watching the show that they put on, a couple of times, 2 or 3 times a night.
I remember when you played it.
What's that, though?
I remember when you played the House of Shock with Crowbar.
Yeah, Crowbar played it in 2010. But
they don't touch it in it now.
In what?
They don't touch it in it now.
They don't. I think there's laws, you can't touch.
Yeah. I don't want. Yeah, I don't,
you can have a long sleeve or something that somebody kind of rubs against their shoulder, but
they'll hit your hair.
Yeah, so I mean, but you can't do shit with hair. But, But
no, back in the early days.
Yeah, in the early days, I mean, we didn't do anything that stupid,
Yeah,
but it was.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, Robin, which is true. It's probably, people copping fields and shit like that. I mean, dude, it started in we were on tour. I think the first year was 1993 or 94. We were on tour, and we were on tour during Halloween. I think maybe with Sacred Reich or something for the self-titled, and which was our first real 3-month tour, 2.5, 3-month tour. So we missed out on it, but the next year we got, we also did it, and I stayed in it every year up until I guess getting into the early 2000s or something, and it just got, it became what it was, and I get it, and I don't know the whole story, but basically Phil just had enough of it, and just wanted to have fun, so he kind of got out of it.
Well, it got television, it was nationally,
it was huge.
It was on MTV and shit, they reported about
really, really. Well, that's the thing is the first, when they had all the people lined up down the street and shit, I think that was 94. I want to say 94 or 95. So it's Pantera literally had Far Beyond Driven out. And it's a platinum artist from local, born and raised Philip Anselmo is a part of this. And, they had the news lady, Susan Roshan, outside Channel 8 News or something, outside the dude's house. And it looked like a fucking Wasp concert in 1984 in fucking Hollywood. It was just lined up all around the corner, dude. It was crazy.
And do you, I mean, obviously you've heard the stories throughout the years, and it's a place with a lot of occult history and a lot of spooky happenings, right? But what's a haunting in New Orleans that you feel is legit? What's the one place you don't go or you don't fuck with, or the one that scared you the most?
I mean, we go do, and I know it sounds weird, but we have the most, because we're below sea level, we have above the ground tombs. Because back in the day, when the city would flood, the fucking caskets would literally come out, floating down the fucking pine box, floating down Canal Street. So we go take pictures and shit when the weather's nice, in the spring or in the fall, and they're beautiful, beautiful cemeteries. It's almost they'll have an old family plot with a mini little cathedral with stained, glass crosses and all this kind of shit. It's really, really pretty, and it's. I mean, I know that they say the term rest in peace, but it's literally a very quiet, peaceful place. There's hundreds of year-old oak trees and shit everywhere, and but there's also spots for the sun. And I mean, people go into a lot of these cemeteries. Robin and I are just doing on a random day sometime. Let's go take pictures in there, and that's where the idea of the Cemetery Angels title came from. There was a local guy named Ronnie Vergets, Gets, I think it was, who used to do this little morning thing. After the morning news, he'd do this little 30-second thing about New Orleans. I think that's where the term for New Orleans is a dying whore. It was New Orleans is a dying whore, but I still love her. And that's the way he ended one of his articles or something in the paper or on TV. And we're that's a great song, a great title for a song. But yeah, the Cemetery Angels is the thing. He was saying one morning, he's talking about all the different shit that's traditional New Orleans, not New Orleans only, but he mentioned he's gone blah, 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 and this and that, and the other thing, and going on and on and on. He goes, the Cemetery Angels. And I'm eating cereal or something. I'm what? And I'm that's a cool title. So that's, there's angels everywhere around the cemetery. So that's the whole thing is they watch over me. Not that I'm dead, thank God. But, they help protect me or whatever, all the angel statues and whatnot. But really real angels, guardian angels.
Right. And because I think about it every now and then, especially around this time of year, because when I came down there and when we were doing the Kingdom, I remember talking to someone local who was telling me, because I was going to try to get locations for a video shoot, or maybe I was trying to take pictures or at least try to find something for inspiration for the album art, for the inlay or whatever. And I didn't want it to be obviously too similar to Crowbar, but I remember hearing about the Axeman of New Orleans, and it was like it was a serial killer from like the early 1900s.
Wow.
That was never caught, and I was trying to find out if there was, areas where the people were killed, if it was haunted or whatever. And then I ended up hearing about this terrible like thing where they killed a bunch of Italian people by lynching. Did you ever hear this? Italian immigrants.
Like the whole thing, like I kind of believe, as stupid as it sounds, Robin and I watched the interview with the vampire thing that they did, which was taking place in the early 1900s in the French Quarter and shit. Like some of these places are still there.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily believe in it, but it's the show was great.
It was more true to the book because there was like more gay shit in there, right?
Yeah, it was like, I'm like, Jesus, hey, I'm whatever, but I'm like,
I'm watching it with my daughter and she's looking at me like,
yeah,
I'm like, she's looking, I'm like, can we fast forward?
It was like barely anybody bashing chicks. It was gayism. And I'm like, I guess vampire, gayness and vampire.
No, I think that's how her books were. I think that's why when they made the movie with Tom Cruise and which the movie, by the way, it's like what was the defense of Brad Pitt, kissing the child actor? It was like, well, she's not really a child. She's
right. She's supposed to be,
100 years or 1,000 years old or whatever. Yeah. We don't have to get into that. But what I was going to say was then there was another thing that came up was about the New Orleans sniper, not the Washington, D.C. sniper, but it was 72 and 73.
Dude, was that I remember watching it live on TV. It was 1972. The Roth Center, I think, was a building, and the guy was up on the top or something, like some like Vietnam guy or some shit.
And he was killing cops.
Just like fucking, and they couldn't find the cops. Yes. Like dropping. It was live on I was 7 years old, and I still remember the New Orleans sniper. So there's some crazy shit goes on in this city, man. For being such a small town, and like we watch all this stuff, and to me, up by y'all, like the Northeast, because it's the oldest part of the country, other than Indian stuff, and the heading west and all. But as far as the settlers coming and forming the United States, where y'all are, and the Connecticut and Massachusetts, Rhode Island, all that whole area, all around there, in Pennsylvania, all that shit. To me, is creepier because it's kind of older in a way, and there's a lot of stuff with that too.
Right. So, and I know that you can find some of these graves, right? Like you can,
like Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen. They have tours where you go and they tell all the stories about her, and you go to her grave, grave where she's buried. And, she was like, there was even a hit song in the 70s, like the Witch Queen of New Orleans, Marie Laveau. I remember when I was a kid. Might have been only local kind of because she was from here. But yeah, all the voodoo shit and all that is kind of crazy, and that kind of became like Dr. John's real name, was it Max Skrepanak? He had gone out to Los Angeles because work was dry. I read one of his books, at least, back in about 25 years ago, called The Night Tripper. And it's a really great book. And he was talking about, he was out in California, and he couldn't really get work in New Orleans anymore. So he kind of created Dr. John, and it was kind of this voodoo image shit, with all these feathers and Indian shit and little skulls and stuff everywhere, and he kind of created this whole character, like a Alice Cooper type thing or something. Prior to that, he was just Max Skrepanak, and he played on all kind of shit. He played on Rolling Stones records and everything. But I'm a huge fan of his. But yeah, the voodoo thing is really big down here. The voodoo thing, the vampire thing, and all of that's what we're mainly known for, you know, back the years ago.
We interrupt the show to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Reigning Phoenix Music, a metal label that is putting out quality releases day after day, week after week, month after month. Head on over to reigningphoenixmusic.com after the podcast today. You'll see new releases from bands like Primal Fear, Insight, Halloween, and of course, my good friends Agnostic Front. Their new album, Echoes in Eternity, is out now. Go check it out over at reigningphoenixmusic.com. The link will be in the show notes. You'll see they have releases as well from bands like Onslaught and many more. We had Insight on the Summer Slaughter tour. They were killing it. We love reigningphoenixmusic.com, and we appreciate their support. Another one of our great sponsors for 2026 edition of Milwaukee Metal Fest, reigningphoenixmusic.com. Now back to the show. Well, I wonder if
y'all have like basements and shit that are creepy. See, we don't have basements. We can't.
Oh, right. Yeah,
so
no,
if
definitely.
Somebody fixes up that basement. It's really nice, but like, you know, we watched that on HGTV, like the scariest houses in America and shit, and they were somewhere up in the Northeast, and it's like the fucking place used to be like the basement was like, you know, the mortuary, or like an old mortuary or something where these people lived, and they literally had the thing where they drained the blood and all, you know, it was like the whole thing. It was some kind of prison. I mean, they used to hang people in there and all this kind of crazy shit. So I was like, fuck that. I wouldn't live there, man.
Dude, we have some here. There's a comment here from Andy Wilson from Patreon. He says, anytime I travel, I look on findagrave.com to see who's buried there. Found Diamond, Vinny, Paul Gray, Johnny, and June Carter's graves that way. Yeah, like we have some by us, but I know during this time they search out some of the more morbid ones, like that that Mark Essex one. The reason why I brought that up was because I did a haunted tour. I did one in Savannah, and I think I did one in New Orleans, and they just mentioned it, but I did think like, oh yeah, where these people were killed, is there like haunted energy, or do the spirits still roam or whatever? You know, there's different there's different whatever.
Yes, and I mean, like,
theories.
We're supposed to be like Halloween in New Orleans is becoming like a huge tourist thing. Like people come from all over the world.
Oh yeah,
because
the sniper's not buried there. Like his parents later on came and said, I think they took his body in it. There's a documentary about it, like Lost History or whatever.
Yeah,
he was in the Navy, and he was abused. It was like a revenge thing, but he actually had I think they took his body and went back to where he was actually from.
Right.
And so there's always two sides of the story.
Of course.
And I like a lot of that hidden history stuff, and I like to hear about that stuff, but I also like to know, like if there's not that I would go to, say, a famous serial killer's grave, but sometimes I'll go into cemeteries, I'll take pictures, or I'll do like rubbings, you know, or whatever. I see like a cool design, or want to be inspired.
I mean, they're kind of like enticing for some reason. You know, it's like, especially the ones down here. Like we go to this one. It's on like the Metairie, New Orleans. Like we don't have counties, we have parishes, but like county line or whatever. And it's called Metairie Lake Lawn Cemetery, and that's my favorite. It's beautiful. It's so peaceful, and these things. It's not that it's all that old. It's how beautiful the tombs and shit are. Like they'll have like the whole fucking family in there. It's like a little mini mausoleum church or something with like 10 caskets fucking slid in with the whole family in it, but it looks like a little church. You know, they have wrought iron gates and shit, like chained shut with padlocks where you can't get in. But it's crazy because, like I said, we don't have traditional just like tombstones. It's either the cemeteries, graveyards, whatever you want to call them, either they're built up, say 10, 15 feet off of the normal, sea level or below sea level that we have, and they just put like little plaques with names on them, or it's these like little mini church things, and they're beautiful. It's like, you know, there's angels everywhere. There's like life-size crucifixes and shit. You get the right lighting. Like, it's a lot of people go for photography there because it's really just, it's pretty stuff, you know. It's cool.
It might even be at the point now where the graves are like shallower because I know there's one by me where there was some from the 1700s and late 1700s, and then to save space, I think after like all the family is or all the relatives are gone, I don't know for sure, but I remember going in one time and there was a fresh one, and I was like, wait, that's not 6 feet, and they were like, oh well, sometimes they do less to make space, and it kind of makes you think like, damn, is there why is this area chosen for it, and how deep down does it go, and how many are down there, like from how many hundreds of years?
Like here, and I don't know if it's everywhere, but here, like, you'll buy like a family plot, and the first member of the family to die will be in a casket, and then when the next person dies, they break the bones and put them in a little bag and put the fresh corpse in and put the bag of bones in, and eventually the whole family is like in bags of bones in one.
Really?
Yes. It's like a great way to save space. I mean, you're not hurting anything, and you know, but you're not desecrating it. But yeah, they break the bones.
It has to be a wooden casket.
In like the mausoleums and stuff like that. They do that.
Wow.
Yeah. So like,
I did not know that.
You know, someone who just passed away, and they're having their memorial service, and there's 3 or 4 other skeletons in bags that are in there with them. So all their remains are like together and stuff, like in the same little mausoleum tomb thing or whatever.
I mean, so I just pulled up the Reddit bone collecting page. I'm right by a farm, and then through the farm there's some woods. So we see death all the time. There was a half of a skunk one day. We're like, why is it just half of like the hind section?
Yeah, what happened?
Like they didn't want that. Whatever was eating, it was like, fuck that.
Get it in half.
And so we find bones, and we find little like gut piles. You know, there's cats out there. There's coyotes. There's fox. There's, you know. But I would be freaked out if I was down there, and you know, after a flood, just a bag of bones comes floating out.
Yeah, it happened during Katrina. There was so much flooding that the attempt to like, you know, raise the sea level, you know, the level of the earth, and bury people regularly. The water was so high for so long that it ended up like there was literally caskets and shit floating down the fucking, you know, down the streets.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So there's no like sites that you avoid that you feel are really truly haunted down there.
I mean, there's a certain vibe to like the French Quarter at night in certain areas. I'll say that, like, it just feels old. Like Robin and I like to go during the day, like on a random Wednesday or some shit. We'll just, you know, we'll go down there. We haven't gone in fucking at least a year or something, but go down during the day and just kind of hop around, have some beers, and it's free to get in and see the music. And there's a lot of great cover song bands. So we'll go, you know, watch 30 minutes at one place and have a beer, and then go to another one and watch and all that kind of shit. But at night, when I was young, like me and my group of friends, and even like everybody I know, Robin said them too. Everybody went out at night. You know, we'd stay out till the sun came up. You know, we were like 18, 19, 20 years old. And I can remember like a group of us and shit walking, you know, a little inebriated, but walking back to like one of my really good friends. His family owns a hotel in the quarter, which came in very handy because we could park there for free. And if we were like really tanked or something, you know, we could crash out in one of the rooms or something for a few hours. But I remember just walking around at night and going, man, it's definitely a fucking electricity and a vibe to the place. You know, I think that's why so many movies, like that's why people are drawn to it, and it works for so many movies, not just Anne Rice stuff, but there's so many, you know, movies and things when it's supposed to be something old and scary, they end up choosing the French Quarter because it was it was shady as fuck. It's still a little shady, even though I really try to clean it up. But you know, like in the remake Interview with the Vampire thing, you know, the whole place was nothing but gambling, brothels, you know, vampires and gay sex or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Well, basically, but you know, hey, whatever your thing is.
Well, before we did the Second Kingdom, when I was down there, I think it was one of the mansions, La Laurie. How do you say it? La Laurie,
maybe.
And that's known because it was like, and I was writing some lyrics. I forget what the working title of the track was. I still have them somewhere. I should try to look them up and see. But I remember hearing about the history of torture and like the various, you know, apparitions people would see. Obviously people talk about St. Louis Cemetery, number one. And
is that where Marie Laveau is?
Yeah. Right. The Voodoo Queen.
Yeah. She's in St. Louis.
Ghost of the Voodoo Queen. Like I was like, oh yeah, that would be a cool, inspiration for one of the tracks. But I never went to like Hotel Monteleone or Bourbon Orleans Hotel.
Bourbon Orleans, yeah.
Yeah,
like that. Those are pretty old, you know. I mean, you know, they've had a couple of fires down there and shit over the, you know.
Oh right, Andrew Jackson. That was right. Like yeah, the Andrew.
We have Jackson Square, which. Like I get sick of it as a dude from New Orleans. It's like every time it's like a Saints game and they're going on a commercial break, it's like Jackson Square and you got St. Louis Cathedral with the Andrew Jackson on a horse statue, and it's like, and there's a riverboat paddle, you know, coming down the river, and it's like the same cliche shit to me over and over. Then there's people walking down Bourbon Street with cocktails, you know. It's like, and they do it like every fucking Saints game, you know. I guess people on the visiting team are interested in it, you know, but I mean, it's one of them things. Like Kenny recently in an interview I had read, because they were down here for the whole month of June going into early July, and he goes, man, I'm really starting to catch the vibe of New Orleans, and I really like it. It's something definitely very, very different, and there really is, man. It's for being a small town. And it's small. I mean, I don't think New Orleans proper, you know, the city of New Orleans has probably less than 500,000 people.
It's because of the port.
You know, yeah. I mean, in the old days, like when I was a kid, even we were like the number one port, probably the number one port in the United States and one of the biggest ports in the world because of our access. The Mississippi River starts in Minnesota. It comes all the way down, and then once it goes straight into the Gulf of Mexico. So from there, you can go wherever the fuck you want. You know, you can go around the Floridian Peninsula, and you're in the Atlantic. You can keep going. It's kind of why they built the Panama Canal. You could instead of going around South America at the bottom of Chile and all that shit, you know, which is way the fuck down there. They built the Panama Canal as a shortcut to get over to the Pacific.
Right, I know the history is crazy when you look into it, but yeah, I definitely got the vibes when I was there, but I didn't see any. You know, you hear about. I think it's
I haven't seen like any legit ghost things. It's kind of like, you know, it's, and you know how tales grow.
Yeah,
you know, like you know,
and even then, what are you gonna do? Like if you heard like the ones that died in the fire, the kids that died in the fire, like if you heard them playing in the street or screaming or whatever, what are you gonna do? You're gonna like,
no, I mean you can't
get the fuck out of there.
Like people ask me sometimes, do you believe in ghosts? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, in a way I do. I mean, I you know, I've had the vibe that something was around. I've never heard or really, I did see, and this is the truth, and I've said it in a lot of interviews and shit, because people are like, do you believe in ghosts? I'm like, well, the closest thing that I've ever seen that I would say is a ghost was at Anselmo's first house he bought when he moved back from Texas, like when he first started making real money with Pantera. And we were jamming music, and I was sitting in a chair, like looking at the little living room area, and we had the stereo, and everybody just drinking, smoking some weed or whatever. And somebody's like, dude, somebody's knocking at the door. And I'm like, yeah. I said, I'll get it, because I was the closest guy. So I opened the fucking door, and there's nothing. And I'm looking on the porch and all, and there's nobody. And I went back and sat down in the chair, and the back of it, like neck to my right, was an entrance to the hallway. And as soon as I sat in the chair, I kind of just glanced, and I swear to the good Lord, I saw somebody or something walk down the fucking hall. And that's after we heard the knock. And I mean, I was there. I mean, if it was kids like, knocking and running or whatever, that's one thing. But, it didn't take me long at all. It was a matter of.
Whoa. And did he ever see him again in that house?
Well, that house had some creepy, like I think his stepdad, Wade, who still like important. He's not a stepdad any longer, but it's still an important part of his life and all. Great guy. I think his stepdad, Wade, was redoing Phil's bathroom to expand it a bit, because the house he bought was old, and it's in a great neighborhood called Lakeview. He doesn't have the home any longer, but I think he found like an old metal Band-Aid bandage box, and inside of it was this little picture of a little boy that was in the wall. And
whoa,
I think that the kid, had an accident and died in the house or on the property or some shit like that. I mean, he didn't help things with the round pentagram pool. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He said when Peter Steele came by the house when they went to tour with Pantera, he goes, dude, Peter literally, the pool was only like 5 feet deep on purpose. So there was no diving or anything. And he said, Peter, he had these French doors that opened up to a balcony, and then there was a spiral staircase thing, like an iron spiral staircase that went down to get in the pool. Peter got basically stripped down, like stood up on the railing or something, and everybody's like, don't dive. Jesus, he's tall as, I think he just jumped like naked in the fucking pool or something. But Phil had, it was black tiles making a pentagram, and then he had red like lighting gels, like the old gels from the Par 64 light cans and shit. He had gels put in the lights so that at night the pool was like blood red with like a giant black pentagram in it.
Wow.
We used to have fun. It was only 5 feet deep, so we'd get like 20 people in a pool, and they could, for like 10 minutes, just keep walking in a circle till everybody go, all right, stop. You just lay there, and it was like one of them lazy river things. You could just like float around. We had a lot of great times there. It was cool.
Right on. Well, Kirk, thank you so much for the time. Everybody go get Ethereal Waves over at martyrstore.net and catch Crowbar on the Headbangers boat. And we're looking forward to the new Down, the new Crowbar, the Sun Don't Shine. We'll have to have you, back on closer towards the holidays. And we got to do some sort of Santa gimmick with you, something. I don't know. I got to think of something. But.
You know me, dude. I'm game. I'll sign whatever. I'll do whatever. It's like,
We got to do some Christmas cards with you as Santa for sure.
Do it. I mean, we'll make it, make it look great. I mean, now's the time to get it rolling. We got
for sure.
Almost 3 months.
Yeah.
Christmas. So
we got to do it. Well, thank you again, and thanks everybody from Patreon, and we'll be back very soon. Thanks, Mike. Bye bye. All right, everybody, if you're still listening, big shout out to Sumerian Records. Go to SumerianRecords.com. Also, big shout out to Kirk, everybody in New Orleans, Sammy, Soylent Green Dudes, Brooders. If you're going to New Orleans, go check out Skankfest and go see Asabath over at the arena on Saturday night. It's going to be a good time. Also, thank you to Reigning Phoenix Music. Head on over to reigningphoenixmusic.com. Check out the new Agnostic Front record. Check out the Halloween. I mean, even non-power metal fans are telling me about that new Halloween record. Also, check out bluegrapemusic.com. We had a blast with Gridiron on the Summer Slaughter tour. We also had Fugitive, who had a single come out on Blue Grape Music, but they have new tracks from Heavy Hitter, new tracks from Silly Goose, new tracks from Spiritual Cramp, and others. Also, check out martyrstore.net. If you liked what you heard with Kirk today, go get his new solo album, Ethereal Waves. That's available on martyrstore.net. And while you're over there, get the new Many Eyes as well. Combust is out now. Keith and the boys are on tour. They just had a great show with Barbarians of California. Shout out to them. Also, we are going on tour with Hatebreed and Sacred Reich in Europe. So head on over to hatebreed.com to see the dates, or you can follow us on any of the social media pages, and you'll see it's Hatebreed, Sacred Reich. We're doing Eldorado Festival, which is almost sold out, and then Revolution Calling, we're your headliner, and that is sold out. And we got some headline shows in between with Sacred Reich, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see everybody in the pit, and then I'll be back, hopefully finishing up this record and getting more podcasts out for you very soon. But in the meantime, you can subscribe over at patreon.com/Jasta, or you can deep dive the archives. Go over to gasdigital.com and do a big deep dive over there. And yeah, that's about it for now. Thank you, prizepicks.com. Go to PrizePicks, and when you use the code Jasta, you'll get hooked up. And yeah. Love you all. Thank you all. Drink your coffee, do your push-ups, listen to death metal. Bye-bye.